that others may live. That is the mission U.S. Air Force Pararescue Jumpers live for, train for, and sometimes die for.
Gunshot wound to his left chest.
Part combat soldier, part doctor. There are no timeouts in a profession that measures success by living or dying. For students training to become PJs, the apprentice course is the last step they must take to graduate. Not everyone will make it.
I meant it!
The PJ pipeline is 2 years of struggle and sacrifice, endurance and luck.
You're already doing it! You're quitting!
There's only one rule for success. Never quit.
Down!
16 students of Class 04 are training at the Pararescue School in Kirtland Air Force Base, New Mexico. They have survived 2 years in the PJ training pipeline and an 80% attrition rate to get here. The fact that they have all survived against the odds leaves them no illusions about what they are up against.
I have doubts every day about what I was doing. If you don't have doubts, then maybe you're not challenging yourself hard enough. Is this the right thing for me?
Through the whole pipeline and through all NDOC, we've been telling you this day is coming. I got news for you. It gets worse.
The apprentice course, nicknamed PJU, is 5 months of the most dangerous and fast-paced instruction these students have faced.
Hurry up!
But after 3 weeks of apprentice training, the team is performing poorly.
Performing these sit-ups, Lieutenant. Take command.
Instructors suspect that the team leader, Lieutenant Topher, is having difficulty leading the class.
Being class leader, it's really difficult. It's kind of like being dropped in the fire. Most of my decisions aren't experience-based at all. They're just kind of from the hip.
He's a 23-year-old guy in charge of, 13 dudes. And all these, A-type personalities don't want to be told what to do. He and I didn't see eye to eye about a lot of things, We got at each other all the time.
What are you doing back there?
Me and the lieutenant, we always bump heads. Instead of backing him up, I would change other people's minds. It made him look really bad, especially in front of instructors as far as a leader goes.
Get your legs off the ground! You're screwing your team once again, bro!
Tension among the team is not the only complication. PJU will be grueling enough. The last and most difficult challenge remaining between them and graduation as pararescue men. If they can't come together as a team, they will fail.
This is too hard. The Air Force has some easy jobs.
Right? You guys are that close from failing.
A pararescue man might best be characterized as part physician, part soldier.
Hang on, buddy.
Trained extensively in combat medical trauma care, PJs are members of the Air Force Special Operations Command, employed for combat rescue situations or non-military emergencies as needed. What separates the PJ from everyone else is his ability to perform medicine, no matter the conditions.
180 degrees from combat medicine to civilian medicine. Civilians do a great job in a setting that's controlled, and ours is chaos.
Every student in Class 04 is a street-trained paramedic, experienced in handling emergency situations. The PJU is designed to show them the difference between what they think they know and what they need to know about combat medicine. On this day, the instructors surprised the class with a simulated mass casualty evacuation drill.
Get out there! Help!
Within a strict time limit, each 4-man team must treat the wounded under simulated enemy fire, then move the patient over a mile to an evacuation point.
What's wrong with this guy?
You get out there, and then all of a sudden they start yelling at you and throwing rocks at you and saying, your buddy's dead, okay, pick up him.
Get out there!
The instructor's message on the rocky hillside is clear.
Move him now!
Forget what you ever learned on the street. This is PJ medicine.
This guy will crap the bed on you if you do not talk to him.
I'm putting an IV in you, okay?
Tell him what it's going to do for him.
It's going to help you.
Tell him it's going to save his life.
You just can't wake up out of bed and then go rescue somebody. These guys need to be at the point where they're ready to puke or die themselves because they need to realize the most important thing is that patient.
Move him now!
In EMT, all the guys learned how to be paramedics. A lot of the practice they had was learning how to not get sued.
Go! Ah!
And the intent of that day, I think, was to be an eye-opener for us and be like, hey, you're not in the hospital anymore.
Oh, my leg!
Under the pressure of instructors watching every detail, students must adapt to the situation.
Hurry up, you better start to
Treating a patient under enemy fire takes on a whole new meaning.
Hey!
Taking fire.
You are taking rounds this time. If I start punching you in the face, acting like rounds, I think you'd move a lot quicker.
Well, you're gonna take his pulse with your gloves on like that.
Anybody can nab to a patient, anybody can jump out of a plane. But when you get to him, you know, and he's got a gunshot wound to his chest or he's bleeding out of his leg, and you have to know exactly what's going on. You have to know what to do just then because, you know, 3 or 4 seconds can kill this guy.
It was hard because make a decision and then Sergeant Cox would say, oh, he just got shot, way to go, LT.
You're shot in the leg, Sokoloff. You're not walking anywhere.
It's exactly what you have to do is unlearn everything. In PJ medicine, if there's fire in the area, I'm not going to worry about this guy's C-spine. And I need to get him out of the area because that's what's going to kill him first, are those bullets.
Watch his head.
Staggering up the side of a mountain while carrying a 200-pound patient is not a time to be indecisive. But struggling for breath at 8,000 feet can cause even the strongest student to question his commitment to the job.
The motto of a lot of people, I think, silently, is that they're going to just take it day by day. One of the other guys said I wasn't going to quit, but I was going to cry a lot.
We can't go any further.
That was the first experience we've had as a team, and we didn't expect it to go like that.
So we're sitting up.
For me personally, the shock factor was high. Everybody was stressed and everybody was smoked.
They had us running in one direction, usually uphill.
The idea is he's better off after you treat him.
You've got all your equipment, you have your rucks, your weapons. Carrying a patient up a hillside on a litter, it was very tiring. I mean, it was a difficult day.
Get into some cover and concealment! I'm not worried about his comfort, I'm worried about his survival.
You can't drag ass and expect to make it through here because if you can't carry your weight and be fit with the team and in shape enough to hang with them, then you might as well drop out and try something else because we can't carry you that far.
You have one chance to make this helicopter. If you do not make this bird, your patient will die. Everybody understand? Let's go.
If a student is stressed out here with some of the minor things that we throw at them, they won't be able to handle it when it's time to perform.
That's exactly it. The instructors are not only testing our ability to perform the task, but they also want to see how we react in situations when something happens that's more than what we're expecting.
13 minutes. Let's go!
Hurry up!
Who's that, McKenzie?
Yes, sir.
What's your patient status?
He's fine right now.
Fine. Is that a medical term?
He's stable, sir.
Mackenzie and his team make the time limit, but his voice reveals his anxiety. Although Mackenzie is a good medic, he's developing a reputation for being excitable under pressure.
Instructors are looking for a student that can think on his feet and be able to perform under stress and chaos with 100% certainty that they're going to do what's right.
All right, so if you got more fluid, why not hook it up?
Instructors are observing Mackenzie to see if he maintains a focus on his patient. If Mackenzie cannot control his intensity, the instructors are considering removing him from the class. The last team, led by Lieutenant Topher, fails to reach the objective within the time limit. In deciding to take an alternate route, Topher sets in motion a chain of events that will end badly.
The whole reason we get paid to do what we do is to save this guy. Not to find an easier way to do something. It doesn't matter if your patient care is outstanding. If you go over the time limit, that helicopter has one chance. It is a sitting duck in the air.
Instructor Oberstar intends for Topher to understand that every decision has a consequence. In trauma medicine, time is life, and no PJ can forget that mistakes in judgment can kill faster than enemy gunfire. When Topher's team succeeds in evacuating their patient, one man is missing. Johansson remains at the bottom of the hill, unable to make it to the top.
You have to work together to get the job done, but ultimately it's what's inside you that matters. Are you going to keep going and push that much further?
Johansson, whenever you're ready to quit, you let us know.
When Topher attempts to assist his teammate, the instructors stop him. They will allow no one to help. Johansson's time to perform is at hand.
Negative. Get back with your team.
For Johansson, his future in pararescue hangs in the balance.
Get your ass up here!
If he can't make it now, his career is over. PJ training is designed to push each man to confront his weakness and overcome it. Whether unable or unwilling to continue training, Johansson's future as a PJ is on the line.
Do your butter cakes or say I quit. Pick one right now.
After more than 2 years of training, the next few seconds will decide his fate.
Get up, you're done. Here, I'll give you all the help you need. Give me your rucksack. Say it loud so everybody can hear it. Say it! Play. Take your rucksack off, you're done.
Johansson blows my mind. You know, I don't know what happened between he and Sergeant Cox, but I couldn't imagine being this far into the program and quitting.
I was not sad to see Johansson go. I don't think Johansson was right for the job. He would have gotten either people killed or he would have gotten himself killed. I think by him quitting, he probably actually did save lives.
Some guys make it through the cracks, and I think he is one of the guys that made it through. He quit doing a simple little exercise of carrying somebody, and that's exactly what we do. You know, if he can't do that, then he definitely needs to be out of this career field.
Instructors keep the class moving, allowing no time to dwell on Johansson's quitting. But every student is experienced with life in the pipeline and understands this is not a job for everyone.
You get used to seeing people go. And as you're losing people, you don't even have time to worry about it.
I think it's the will to want it. That's the one thing we do have in common is we want this job, and we're not going to let anything stop us from doing it.
Aircraft emergency procedures, bailout for free fall, 3 short rings for prepare, 1 away.
The 8th week of the apprentice course is air operations. Class 04 prepares for a medical exercise requiring a free fall parachute drop from over 12,000 feet before locating simulated patients at a nearby desert location.
If for some reason one of you guys gets dragged outside of the aircraft, I will deploy.
They free fall to 3,500 feet, they pull. This will be the first equipment jump into a medical exercise. They put the free fall skills, which they learned earlier, with the medical skills they learned here. Now we're putting it together into an exercise with a patient.
Jumping from an airplane while loaded down with combat and medical gear is risky, yet frequently the fastest way for a PJ to get to his objective.
Everybody got that?
This is the most dangerous phase of apprentice training yet.
If your chute fails, you know what to do, and everything that they say is for real because either it's happened to somebody else or it's happened to them.
Ramp and door remain open, drop checklist, play low.
My biggest fear is fear of failure. That once I've set out to do something, I might not successfully accomplish it. I'm more worried about screwing up or screwing up to the point that I hurt somebody else.
But the pressures that we go through, I mean, I think they would kill most people. We spend so much time in this course that one little mistake, you're gone. I mean, you're out of the pipeline.
For all the pre-jump concerns, every man lands safely on target. But now they must shift gears and focus on their primary mission, treating their patients.
Get up and move.
You hit the ground after a free fall and you got all that adrenaline flowing through you. And you got to slow yourself down enough where you can treat a patient. And Mackenzie actually ran into that problem.
I had a perfect jump, everything went well that day. Once I got on the ground, I forgot to put a pin back into my automatic opening device, and that just set off a chain of events that I wish didn't happen.
So what's your problem?
A man's reputation as a PJ starts in the pipeline. Mackenzie's growing reputation for being high-strung during missions is drawing instructors' attention.
Well, when a student highlights himself to us, then usually all the other instructors are gonna, go to him like basically sharks on blood.
All right, you're setting a bad precedent here.
Mackenzie's had some problems with attention to detail. We've noticed that throughout the training, so we're kind of hard on him. Next time I see you in that position, you're reporting to Director of Training.
Yes, sir.
So yeah?
Yes, sir.
Stand by. To the ambulance, go!
Anytime any of us are singled out, there's that part of you that says, thank God it's not me. But there's also that part that says, I know how that feels, because at one point in this pipeline, you've been that guy. And it sucks.
Let's go, Mackenzie. Yes, sir. You got lots of movement, nothing going on. If you're doing a lot of shuffling around, That's what you're doing. What'd I just do? Nothing.
Nothing.
So make a lot of noise.
I don't think the instructors dislike Mackenzie. I think they do like him. You can rile him up pretty easily. The instructors see that as kind of a weakness. They want him to try and calm down a little bit.
You're going to be fun to watch when people are actually shooting at you. Let's go.
You have 3 instructors yelling in your ear. You kind of just stop for a second, take a deep breath, and you blank them out. Go to your happy place.
Hey, are you supposed to circumferentially wrap tape around your patient's arm?
So it doesn't.
Are you supposed to do that?
Sorry, that's what we were doing.
The answer is no, Sergeant. Why?
Because of cross circulation.
Because you're all amped up right now. You're gonna wrap the tape too tight. You're gonna cut off circulation. And then what good is that IV gonna do them?
No good at all.
Zippo, zero, zilch, none.
Tell me to take his glove off.
Unfortunately for Mackenzie, his situation does not improve, and neither does his performance.
All right, how long ago did this happen?
This happened about half hour ago.
What did you just look at? You got a watch on your hand? What did you? How did you know it was a half hour by looking right there? What did you just look
I'm
at?
guessing it's enough. That's just muscle
you just
memory,
guessed?
Sergeant.
Really?
But it was about a half hour ago.
You don't know. You have no idea, though.
You've been out here for 45 minutes. His performance is marginal at this point. If he continues marginal performance, then what we're going to do is send him to the director of training. We had this talk before. Okay, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm serious.
After that day, I was telling myself, this is it. And you have to do this, and you have to get this done in order to graduate.
Get out of here.
1 week after land jumps end, low-altitude water jump training begins at Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. But after 2 months of apprentice training, leadership issues remain, fueled by Class 04's resentment toward the instructors.
These instructors are expecting us to be motivated as hell. I think they didn't like our class from the beginning.
I don't think they like our attitude. I think we have a very screw you attitude where I'm gonna do what I have to do to get through this course and my team through this course, but I ain't gonna try and impress you. I'm not gonna kiss your ass, basically.
These guys, they all whine and cry and they want some kind of psychological therapy for their little woes, and you know, I don't have time for that. Nobody's really got time for that. There's a chaplain for that kind of business.
When I ask a specific person,
They have that whole mentality. You're a student, they're instructors, and I don't really like them. I'm just going to keep it at that and stay away from them because I don't like them.
Do it. Let's go.
Although Topher appears more comfortable as class leader, instructors are skeptical that he's getting the maximum effort possible from his team. Any failure to put differences aside and concentrate could result in expulsion from training or even death.
Right now, what I see is a team of individuals. And then you have some leadership guys who could really care less one way or the other.
Doing that, what are you doing? You watching?
Patrick was a lose-lose. Morale is definitely low. We were being criticized for things that we don't think we should have been criticized for. They were trying to make us feel uncomfortable and out of our comfort zone.
Parachuting from 3,500 feet using static line and freefall techniques will be their first time jumping from such a low altitude, a fact not lost on the students. Class differences toward instructors will have to wait.
A lot of us going into it, we were pretty nervous about it. For every other jump, we'd been several thousand feet higher than that with a lot more time to make decisions should a malfunction come up.
I see a lot of shaking hands and this shit going on and you're just freaking not getting anything done.
I hate heights. And you know, here I am jumping out at 12,000 feet, having no idea what the hell's going on because I've never done this before. And I get to this course, I'm jumping out at 3,500 feet. You know, my chute fails, you know, I'm pretty much dead anyway.
All right, be smart, work smart.
In addition, students will practice one of the most dangerous methods of pararescue deployment over water, jumping and de-rigging a 5x5 bundle called a Rigging Alternate Method Zodiac, or RAMS. The RAMS package contains a motorized Zodiac raft and other equipment essential for survival and mission operations on the open sea.
They push you out the back of the plane, and these static line parachutes open up, it floats down to the water. It's just like unwrapping a big present. There's scuba tanks on it to inflate the boat. Once the boat's inflated, you jump in, and you prime the gas line and get it going.
Low-altitude jumps are designed for jumpers to land in the water as close to the package and each other as possible. Land too far apart and strong currents or high waves will conspire to keep the package and swimmers out of reach. As instructors might say, do it right and live. Do it wrong and die.
You want to land downwind, downdrift of the package. And if you land upwind, updrift, you're swimming. And in a real life situation, you're not gonna get that package. Mission canked. Somebody's gonna die.
The students are divided into 5-man elements called sticks. Their first event will be a static line jump from 3,500 feet.
I don't think it's fun at all. Even sitting right here right now, I'm like, I don't want to jump. Because there's a lot of stuff that could go wrong.
Every time I've ever stood on the ramp of a C-130 preparing to jump out, I can't figure out whether my legs are shaking from the vibrations of the plane or they're shaking because I'm afraid. If you're not a little bit afraid when you're jumping out, there's something wrong.
You stand up, you check each other's pins, and you walk to the front. 3,000 feet's low. It looks like you're on the top of a building. You have faith in your gear and what you've learned, and go to it.
The first stick exits the plane. Chutes open cleanly and everything looks good. But suddenly, less than 1,500 feet off the deck, 2 jumpers collide and their chutes threaten to become entangled.
Parachute entanglement is every pararescueman's worst nightmare. It's just something you don't want to have to deal with.
Get your separation, cut away if you have to. And hopefully you do everything right this time, because if you don't, you're done.
Despite a near catastrophe, the jumpers manage to keep their canopies inflated and land safely. With the danger abated, their mission continues. On board the plane, the next stick prepares to jump. Once again, the package and the jumpers make a perfect exit from the aircraft.
Red light. 4 jumpers away.
All seems routine. Suddenly, 2 more jumpers veer into each other and become entangled. They're 500 feet above the water.
An entanglement is one of the scariest things, especially with static line, because you're already at a pretty low altitude. You don't really have a whole lot of time to fix your situation. What makes it so dangerous is that there's the potential for you to be wrapped in someone else's canopy.
Becoming wrapped in a canopy, either in the air or in the water, can mean injury or death. When one jumper pulls his reserve chute too late, the extra chute becomes a potential anchor that threatens to entangle him underwater.
Well, for all we know, he's unconscious at that point, and he's underwater. Plus, we don't know what's the situation with his ruck. Is it going to pull him down underwater? There's a definite heightened level of concern. He followed the wrong procedures when he deployed it.
The jumpers escape injury and swim to the ram's package. But trying to deploy it becomes an exercise in futility.
You get in the water and nothing goes as planned. It's game on. It's time to, okay, forget what just happened. You need to tell yourself, slow down, concentrate on the objective, and get it done.
Look at you can't even stay on it.
As the Zodiac inflates, an instructor discovers the students have failed to insert a drainage plug. The class is losing its focus under the pressures of the day's events.
You guys think this helps, maybe?
I don't know how to jack up a lot of that stuff. Just frustration, failure to communicate, I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff that just didn't work out very well for us.
Yo, what are you stopping for? What, 2 pulls and you're done, boy?
But the day is far from over. Concern over the students' inconsistent performance will force the instructors to make a tough decision.
The leadership of their team leader, you know, quite honestly, I'd fire the lieutenant.
It's been a long day for Pararescue Class 04. After their first round of low-altitude static line jumps, there have been serious problems. 2 separate collisions have created concerns over the students' failure to maintain proper separation. Either mistake could have been fatal.
Everybody makes mistakes when we're trying to drill home. You can't make them out here. People get hurt. People get killed. It's on everybody's mind. We'll have to wait until we get into the debrief and find out the whole situation.
When instructors meet later, they will discuss Class 04's situation. The main topic will be 04's continuing pattern of inconsistent performance.
But that's a pattern with this class.
Right, exactly.
A lot of things don't go right every day. And if we keep writing it off like, hey, things just didn't go right, well, they just didn't go right for a reason. You know, this is it. They're going out to their teams, and we have to determine whether or not we feel comfortable with these guys. So they failed.
Leadership of their team leader, you know, quite honestly, I'd fire the lieutenant.
Between him, DeCare, and Minshew as the senior guys, there's nothing going on. There are 3 guys with a head full of nothing.
Did you guys have a good day today? I'm not happy with what I've seen. I'm not happy with what I'm hearing from other instructors. So, you're fired. He didn't have control of his team, so we took over and put someone else in charge. And who's the lowest ranking guy? Freeman. We got the lowest ranking guy in charge now, and I'll fire him as well if I have to, until they realize what's on the team leader's shoulders.
The performance of the team ultimately lies on the leader. The team isn't just one guy at all. It's all the guys working together. But the leader of the team is definitely responsible for the team's performance.
These guys were trying too hard, and trying too hard sometimes means that you forget to do certain things. And you know, I've been telling these guys, one step at a time.
You gotta listen to what the instructors are telling you. Just like Sergeant Coomer said, you will be dead if you were out in the ocean that far away from that package, period. We do keep the pressure on them because we have to keep them mentally tough through the whole course. Even as PJs, you're still tested every day. Because when you go behind enemy lines to rescue somebody or in the middle of the ocean 600-700 miles away from anything, you gotta be mentally prepared.
Just want you guys to learn. We're learning here, right?
Yeah.
People can get pissed off, but we're still learning, right?
When you jump out of the aircraft and you hit the water, that is your mode of transportation to the survivor. You don't stop when you hit the water, all right? You say, oh, I made it in the water, ooh, everything's great, you know?
This isn't fun, this is training. It's dangerous, like you saw today. We got a lot riding on this. We don't want to get lax, you know, complacent with things like maybe we have done.
Ready? Exercise.
The students accept that the day's poor performance means they must pay in pain. But firing Topher as class leader is disconcerting to a team suspicious of the instructor's intentions.
You gonna forget your gear and stuff there tomorrow, huh?
We're a young team. We don't have anybody that know the instructors and know the game. So I think that has a lot to do with the way they've treated us just because we're young, and that's the reason they beat us so hard.
All right, I want to wake up everybody in housing over there.
What pararescue team? Ready! Exercise of one!
The team feels that instructors are trying to get rid of somebody. That's just how you feel. It's every day, it's a test, and they're trying to get rid of you.
Yeah, Sergeant!
Whether Topher's firing will help motivate his team to perform remains to be seen.
That's always on your mind. We just lost our team leader, and I think we probably all feel bad about that. Now we got a younger, more inexperienced team leader that we're gonna have to step up for, you know, because obviously we didn't do it for the first one.
Freeman's in charge, so we listen to what he says. We do our best to, you know, help out him. But either way, we're gonna follow either one of them, so it doesn't really matter who it is. We have our down days, and this was a bad day. You know, I'm just hoping we can all pick ourselves up tomorrow and get it going.
The next morning, the class is back at work. Freeman and the students are adjusting to his new role as the class leader.
All right, it's kind of a shock, you know. I hadn't been in that position before, but you got to be ready for everything, you know.
Focus on what you're doing.
Hopefully I don't spin, but I'll count to 5 seconds and pull my chute. Hopefully everything works out.
You don't have any worries in the world other than this jump. Nothing. Not your bills, not your mama, not your babies, nothing. Just think about this jump. All you have to worry about is what's next. Pull that ripcord. What if that thing doesn't work? What's next? That's all you have to worry about is what's next.
Pick up that
Action 4300 heavy ground. Engine start your discretion, advice to detect.
Free-fall parachuting requires each jumper to manually open his own parachute. The first man out must count to 5 before opening his chute. Subsequent jumpers will shorten their count to maintain proper separation in the air. At such a low altitude, there is no room for mistakes.
By the time the first guy out counts to 5 and pulls, I mean, he's probably at 2,500 feet. That's like 12 or 13 seconds before you hit the ground. Not a whole lot of time to fix a bad situation. It's all fun and good until something goes wrong.
And low clear.
There's more planning involved than actually execution, because you're planning all the contingencies, all the what ifs. What if this happens? What if this happens?
Yeah, I have 1 good package and 5 good parachutists.
You get into the plane and you start running through what you're going to do on exit. And then it all becomes real. You're like, okay, if something goes wrong here, I'm probably dead.
The free fall day jumps go off without a hitch, and the class and instructors turn their attention to the final event of the day, a night static line rams jump, the most dangerous training event yet.
This isn't just some fun, easy jump. This is the jump that gets people.
Get on the aircraft!
Yeah, I'm real concerned with how the class is going to do tonight. If they can't, during the day, stay away from each other, they go and tangle, that doesn't give me a warm fuzzy for the night jump.
Sit down! Buckle up! Pack it in!
For most of the students, it will be their first time jumping at night. The collisions from the day before heighten the tension and excitement running through the class.
You're more nervous because the fact that we're doing 3 passes of 5 jumpers, so therefore you get to look out for 4 other guys. And as soon as you jump out, you turn a strobe on. So say if somebody forgets to do the strobe, or strobe falls out, you're gonna be shit out of luck trying to figure stuff out.
Check static line!
The sticks line up and prepare to exit.
As soon as you get stable and pull that parachute and that canopy's over your head, I don't care who you are, you take a good 5 seconds and you say, thank you, God, because that canopy's open.
I was the first person out the plane in my group. It was actually the best jump I've ever had, because I landed on top of the package. I was ecstatic. I was on cloud 9.
What's next?
Everybody else in my team, they came in pretty close.
The night static line jump is successfully completed, and everyone on the team will pass water jumps. The air operations phase is ended, and the instructors are pleased, but not convinced that 04's problems are over.
Everything went well. I'm real happy with tonight. We completed 3 days worth of work today, and these guys stepped up and did a good job.
Right now I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not these guys are a good class or a bad class. They're in the middle right now.
Did you get it? Got it.
After tomorrow, hopefully this phase will be done and we'll go on to another phase. One step closer to getting that beret and graduate. We'll get down to the real career field.
Go! Shouldn't be standing around!
Class 04 successfully concludes its air operations and moves forward in the apprentice course. But Topher and his teammates understand their attitudes toward the instructors need to change, or the class will keep having problems.
You got to get to the point, I think, where you can just accept all that and have a good attitude about it. You do what we did and basically get cynical and say, screw this is stupid, I just want to get through this week kind of attitude. I think it affects performance. I think that was a lesson learned.
But the problems are not over for Class 04 as they prepare for their next phase of apprentice training, mountain rescue.
Yeah, I'm pretty scared of heights, especially trusting this one little knot or this one little cord to hold me up.
2 minutes!
The next phase of the Pararescue apprentice course is mountain rescue. With graduation less than 2 months away, the pace of training is accelerating.
This right here, what we're doing is called a suspension traverse. All it is just a 1/2-inch rope that we've spread across this canyon so that we can get from one side to the other safely. The main real-world application we would use for this is getting a patient across from one side of a canyon to another.
At first, the mountain rescue phase seems merely another skill to learn in the PJ pipeline. But initial class excitement slowly evaporates as the team struggles. Mountain rescue becomes a slow, painful process.
So I was excited about it. I mean, we learned everything we needed to know in the classroom. Everybody knew their knots. Everybody was doing fine, but we got out onto the mountain and something just didn't work out for us. I don't know.
No, go that way, sir.
To Instructor McKinley, the reasons for the students' lack of progress are obvious. They are not performing with confidence or ability, even at a most basic level.
They're having a hard time grasping the basic concepts, and this is such a dangerous thing that we're doing that we can't progress to the next level until we can trust them. You really need to understand what you're doing because you can start breaking ropes and carabiners if you get too carried away. They're not the best class I've had, they're not the worst class I've had, but they're right above that. All right, off you go. What I'm giving them is familiarization, showing them that this capability is out there.
Yeah. Keep your momentum.
The orange line is a 1/2-inch rope. It's got a breaking strength right around 9,000 pounds. This is a very safe system, 9,000-pound rope with 18,000-pound anchors. It's not going to go anywhere. You can hang a truck off this thing.
Despite the safety claims by McKinley, the team lacks experience with technique and trust in their equipment. This inexperience is compounded by an apprehension over heights.
I'm pretty scared of heights. I don't like them. It's not the big heights like the 10,000 feet. That doesn't bother me because, you know, hell, I'm going to die anyway. It's the 50 to 100 feet to where if I fall, I'd probably just break my leg or mess myself up really bad. That's the heights that I really hate, you know, especially trusting this one little knot or this one little cord to hold me up.
When they're up at 18,000 feet trying to jump out of a plane, their subconscious can't correlate how high they are. But when they're this low, they're only 30 to 50 feet off the ground. Guys who are scared of heights, you really start to see it.
Without prior experience, mountain rescue will push every student to a new level of anxiety. They must learn knot tying, math formulas, and a trust in their equipment in a short period of time.
This isn't easy, is it? All right?
Topher, reinstated as team leader, feels caught in the middle.
Deal with it.
The guys are coming to me asking for answers. Why is this going on? And they're obviously frustrated. They just want to be in a situation where they can learn and they're so motivated to do the job. And then the instructors are coming down on me like, why's your team screwed up, you know? And it's a balancing act.
You're gonna trust a freaking rescue system to that? You're gonna trust your 4 buddies' lives to that little rock?
Frustrated by their poor performance,
Push-ups face downhill.
the class holds a team peer review away from the cameras and instructors. One of the main topics is the team's undermining of leadership, especially Lieutenant Topher.
Don't worry about it. I don't care.
I knew I was doing the wrong thing, but I was too damn stubborn to change it myself. Sitting me down and talking to me was a good idea, and it would definitely change my attitude about the whole course.
Down slow.
He realized that, yes, I am going to tell him what to do sometimes. And that is just part of being in the military. And on the other hand, a leadership lesson for me was that I have a lot of guys with a lot of great ideas, and it's important for me as a leader to be able to listen to them.
After the class meeting, there is a noticeable improvement in team attitude. Tension toward the instructors drops as the team unites behind one idea. Everybody graduates.
You know, we graduate December 20th, everything goes well. And then we have weapons and tactics left. Just one day at a time. That's the way I take things. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, you could get injured, you know, somebody could get hurt. No telling.
As the mountain rescue phase ends, neither Freeman nor the class realizes how true his words will become. Every training cycle in the pararescue pipeline is designed to save lives. Weapons training is no different. Combat search and rescue means that to save a life, it might be necessary to take one.
Bam, bam. And then take your time on that headshot. Watch your target.
There's 2 sides to this job. It's part of it that you may have to take a life, part of it that you may have to save a life. It's not like a light switch we can turn it on and off. You have to be able to do both at the same time.
You will draw and fire a standard defensive response within 3 seconds.
The best medicine on the battlefield is hot lead rounds downrange at the bad guys. The dead PJ isn't any good to anyone. So you got to lay down that good base of fire on the bad guys before you can really do your job, which is medical treatment on the battlefield. Watch your target.
Class 04 is less than 2 weeks away from graduation. The students are working well as a class. The end of the pipeline is in sight.
Search left, search right. Decock and holster.
When you get that close to the end, you're just like, you can taste it, you know? You're like, man, we're gonna be doing this together, we're gonna be putting on our braids together, and you get stoked about it. And at that point, yeah, you're like, hey man, this is the team we're graduating with.
Watch your target. The weapons course is fast-paced with an emphasis on safety and accuracy. Students take nothing for granted. Any safety violations or lapses in judgment now could be fatal to their careers.
Safe them, sling them, let them hang.
Safety definitely is a major concern here. They have been trained for the past 8 days, so they should have it all squared away right now.
You have to think about what's going on and know what everybody's doing. If you move the wrong way, yeah, you could take one. You know, you could die right there.
The student's progress is rated constantly through daily PCs or progress checks for accuracy.
It's black and white. They have a target and they have different rings on the target, and each ring represents a different number of points. So it's just going to be how accurate they fire, and it is timed, and the targets will turn away when the time's up.
Go to kneeling.
3 years of work, and it all comes down to one event. And then if people haven't shot before, that it could be another thing that could knock them out of the course.
You guys want to know your scores?
The minimum score to pass is 210 points out of 300.
Freeman, 208.
When 3 class members, including Freeman, fail their progress check, their situation is serious but not critical. They will be allowed to retest.
Mike Whiskey, 222.
So 3 guys, so we'll work with all 3 of those guys, get them figured out. Reshoot them.
Draw and fire standard defense response within 3 seconds. If a student does not pass, we will give them time and assess them, see what they did wrong, what they did right, and try to make those corrections. If they do not pass, then that is grounds for a setback or removal from training.
Freeman fails his retest and is immediately removed from training. His shock is matched by his classmates who are stunned. The loss, so close to graduation, threatens to overwhelm them.
I think he was one of the best guys on team, and to lose him, it hurts the team. We're weaker now without him.
We tried as a team to bargain with the instructors. We said, we'll come in Saturday. We will give up our weekend to come in, and if you retest Freeman, because we wanted him to stay on team. That hurt bad to lose him that late in the game. It sucks.
Right now at this point, Freeman failed.
All the guys are confused, I'm confused. And I just remember thinking, like, I gotta do something about this situation because there's no way we can go into this PC more focused on Freeman than what we're about to do.
You guys looked like you wanted to kill me when Freeman left, so I had to load up.
With the finish line so close, Topher is determined that no one else will fail. But determination alone will not be enough.
What did I just do?
Show them what you were.
Pararescue demands performance, and there are still 2 weeks to go.
Standard defensive response.
When we lost Freeman, everybody was upset, but then you have to turn around and flip that switch and go, okay, it's over. It's done with, now I have to get me through. And, you know, there's no I in team, but, you know, you have to look out for you. You're always looking out for you. And it's not that you're being selfish, it's just what you have to do.
Magazine now, watch it slide to the rear.
This is basically everything that you have learned.
The obstacle course is the last phase of weapons training. With graduation so close and Freeman's failure still fresh in their minds, the class is wary of taking anything for granted.
If you're breathing real hard, your front sights are moving up and down on the target.
We have 1 day left after completing this obstacle course, and we don't have to complete any more qualifications, but you definitely still always have to be on your toes. You're always being tested, not just during the progress checks. Everything's a test.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
During the O course, the students are deliberately fatigued, requiring them to shoot under less than perfect conditions. The emphasis on combat shooting brings each student closer to a true perspective of what pararescue is about.
We're expected to save lives, but at some point, we might have to take a life too. That's how it goes. If that's what you have to do to bring somebody home, that's what you got to do.
I'm trying to save the lives of fellow Americans, and so if I have to kill people in order to carry out my mission, I don't have any problem with that.
I think it will be hard for anybody to shoot somebody, especially the first time. You can be a Marine that says, yeah, I'm just here to kill, 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 but until you shoot that son of a bitch, you don't know. I just know if the time comes up, I have to shoot him or he's going to shoot me. And that's where our training comes in, and hopefully our training was a little better than his.
Draw! Engage!
Main things they can lose time on are either just moving slowly, they can lose time for a procedural violation, or anytime they miss, a target, that adds 30 seconds to their time as well. So it's very important to make your shots.
Go.
And I keep my hand on the back of them to keep them moving forward and to maintain control of them. Also, they may find themselves in a situation where they have people behind them and they've got to keep moving. So they got to be conscious of that. If he starts getting too close to his target, I'll go ahead and pull him back.
Time. Safe it. That's probably the hardest part, trying to keep that steady. Instead of just concentrating on your breathing.
Recover your magazines.
Yeah, I noticed up there. I was like trying to hold my breath, and I was like,
yeah.
Okay, pretend I'm not
After 2 years or more of training, no PJ is ever sure how he will react to a situation. And the 14 men who will graduate in Class 04 are no exception.
Fellas, it's really been an honor to be your team leader. It's been such a learning experience.
It's not until Topher pays his respects to the class that each man realizes training is truly over.
The Dwayne D. Hackney Award, also known as the Commandant's Award, goes to Christopher J. Uriarty.
Everybody realizes that, yeah, we're done. I still feel like I got 2 more years to go. It doesn't feel like anything's changed. Hopefully when I get in my car and I'm driving home, I'll start feeling pretty good about it.
The training in the pipeline is designed to instill pride in performance and loyalty to the PJ code so that others may live. That is the mission Pararescue Jumpers live for.
The Arthur N. Black Award goes to Airman First Class Sean Cole.
The more I stayed in this course and the more I got into the aspect of actually saving somebody's life, I figured that's a hell of a lot harder than killing them. I think anybody can go out and shoot somebody, but can you save that guy's life?
As Cole and his teammates prepare for their future in pararescue, they have come to understand and accept the sacrifices that combat search and rescue will require.
You got friends that die, we have guys, that get killed. A helo goes down, your best friend just died. You have to put that aside. Somebody, most likely, of us will probably die. But you have to think about it to where, do you still want to do this job? Because if you do, then you already know the consequences.
My duty is to pararescue.
This is what I want to do.
Life may be injured.
I think this is what God put me here to do.
Perform my assigned duties quickly and efficiently.
I think I'm going to be a damn good operator.
These things we do, and others may live. Yeah!
Get the trails right there.
Right. Careful going down.